PMAC Movies back for a brand new reviews video. We haven't had one in quite a while, but somebody in the comments section said that his favorite videos were reviews videos, and he might not even be. I think there's been some other people that said something similar. So these are for the fans, and if you enjoy these reviews videos and appreciate them, definitely leave me a comment, and if I get enough, that will certainly encourage me to make more of these. I do have a better way to keep track of what I watched, because I do now use Letterboxd, and that's just within the last couple months or so I started using that, and it really helps. That being said, I don't have like a copy of the movies to show you. A lot of these are ones that I do own physically, but I'm just not gonna like bring them all here and then put them all back. It's kind of time, so waste a little bit of time. So we're not gonna do it that way. But I'm just gonna pull them up on my phone and go through my Letterboxd. So a couple things before I do that. First of all, in the description section, there are other ways that you can help out PMAC Movies and reach out. And I don't think I have my Letterboxd link in there yet, so I have to add that. So hopefully in this video and then in upcoming videos, I will have my Letterboxd link so you can check out what I've been watching in my reviews. So over the past few days here, from Friday on, I've watched a lot of movies. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I've watched 14 movies since I got home from work on Friday. So that's pretty cool. That's quite a few movies. And then, you know, some backaways too. So I'm just going to give brief reviews. And we'll go from the most recent, which this morning, I watched Riders of Justice, starring Michaelson. It is here in the U.S., it was released by Magnolia in their Magnet line. It is a Danish movie. Michaelson, he's got to be one of the best actors in the world. He's just fabulous. He can play so many different types of characters, I feel like. In this particular movie, he plays like a military man who obviously has a lot of emotional issues, and he shows them through anger and violence. And this is a good movie as far as like, it's got a lot of drama elements. It's got some action, and quite a bit of comedy also. It really did it nice with like, there's some dark stuff and some heavy stuff in it, but it kind of balanced things out in a way that made it feel, it could have been kind of tough to get through if it was just all dark and all nastiness and all bad stuff. So that humor really helped you be able to get through it. Some of the characters in it really led to the humor. Michaelson, not so much. His character was totally humorless. But there are several characters in this that are definitely there to keep it a little bit lighter. And there's definitely some things that happen in the movie, some twists that kind of get you going, and kind of, it's a little bit out there as far as like believing it. But overall, I thought it was a really good movie, and it had me really invested in it and into the characters, and it does do a good job with you know, getting you interested in what happens to the characters. Because these movies where it's like you don't care about the characters, I mean, you're just not going to care about what happens to them. So I gave Riders of Justice 4.5 stars. You know, it was $13 and buy two get one, and here in a recent sale, so you're able to get it for, I think that's between $8 and $9, and that's definitely worth it to me for that movie. Another movie, Riders from Justice, by the way, from 2020. And, let's see. How many minutes was this baby? 116 minutes, so it's a little bit less than 2 hours, but definitely worth your time. I kind of watched Renegades, starring Kiefer Sutherland, and what's his face there? This doesn't... Lou Diamond Phillips. I'm still getting used to Letterboxd. Don't judge me. 106 Minutes from 1989. Directed by Jack Shoulder. I really couldn't get into this one. They kind of made it seem like Kiefer Sutherland's character was going to be kind of a badass, but then, I don't know, I felt like he was kind of a bitch throughout the movie. I didn't really get into it. I didn't really get into it that much, honestly. So I only gave that 2.5 stars. I got the Mill Creek version of that one. The picture quality seemed to be reasonable. I thought it was fine. The General's Daughter, starring John Travolta. I went into this thinking this is just going to be a fun popcorn movie, fun popcorn action movie. And I was actually, honestly, kind of blown away by it. It's from 1999, directed by Simon West. It's 116 minutes, and it stars John Travolta, Madeline Stowe, James Cromwell, Timothy Hutton, Leslie Stephenson, who is the wife of what's-his-face, James Spader. Interesting how she kind of towers over him if you look at pictures. But anyway, I'll tell you what. I went in with, like, mediocre expectations. Like, this is just going to be a fun one. And I actually enjoyed it a heck of a lot more than I thought, because it got like, crappy reviews. Honestly, I'm not that big of a John Travolta fan. John Travolta, usually I don't like him very much. But he's kind of a badass in this. And it's kind of got me thinking, I need to watch some more John Travolta. I do remember watching that Broken Arrow movie. I think Christian Slater's in that, and I really did not like that at all. And I actually sold it, and then I think I was able to get it for like $1.24 or whatever from one of those Dollar General deals. So the General's Daughter was like $10 and change in the buy two get one, and I'll tell you what, if you like 80s, 90s movies, it's from 99, so it's a little bit later in the 90s, but man, it is, I just thought it was so good. It had like really, basically what it has to do with is a military murder, rape and murder, and there's really a lot of like twists and turns in this thing, plot twists and turns, and I was just really engaged throughout the movie. John Travolta's character at the beginning, I'm like, this guy's a douche. But you actually, or at least I grew to like him, his character, and he's kind of a badass. It was pretty sweet, actually. I gave it 4 stars. I could very easily up it to 4.5. I thought it was a really, really good one, kind of like a thriller, mystery thriller sort of thing. Highly recommend that one. I watched a recent movie called Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, from 2021. It is 107 minutes, directed by Johannes Roberts, and starring Kea Scodelario. She's been in some other stuff. I think Crawl, she's pretty good. Robbie Amell, who's been in a few things also, and he's the... he's in Legends of Tomorrow, I think, and at least for a little while. And he's Arrow's brother. I can't remember what his first name is. And then Tom Hopper plays Wesker, who is in one of those popular Netflix shows, which I can't think of at the moment. I'll tell you, I'm not a big fan of the Resident Evil movies. They're mostly, like, the first one was pretty good, had something of a story to it, but then it was mostly just, like, action-packed. Just action, shit blowing up and crap. This one had more of, like, the story to it of the first 2 Resident Evil games, which I really like those first 2 Resident Evil games. I kind of dropped out of it, I think. I think I might have beaten the 3rd one or gotten close to beating it. But the first 2, I don't know, they just had like really cool mystery elements to them. You would find different evidence of stuff and read it. I had never played a game like that. And while this movie certainly isn't great, this Welcome to Raccoon City, it did kind of, remind me back to those games. And it definitely could have been a lot better. And I think they make a lot of movies bad on purpose, quite honestly, but it was still fun. I think it obviously could have been a heck of a lot better, but it is worth watching if you like the first 2 Resident Evil games. If you don't, you're not aware of those, you're probably not going to care for this a whole lot, I wouldn't think, because to me that was a lot of it, like knowing the characters from those games and stuff like that. So I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. I watched Nothing But Trouble, which Shout Select put out, and it has some audio issues, which I noticed a little bit. But they haven't put out like a corrected disc or anything. These companies, they screw up way too often, and they need to send everybody new discs and stuff. It's a shame. But Nothing But Trouble, I thought was pretty bad. It's supposed to be like a dark comedy, and it is dark and weird and disturbing and not funny at all for me, personally. I mean, some people, I guess, would find it funny. It is from 1991. It's 94 minutes. Directed by Dan Aykroyd and starring Dan Aykroyd along with Chevy Chase, John Candy, Demi Moore. Yeah, I thought it was pretty messed up, quite honestly. And then at the end, it kind of, like, this guy totally, like, just kidnaps people and messes with them. And, like, if you haven't seen this movie, like, come on, it's been out 30 years. So, spoilers. Like, is there really spoilers for a 30-year-old movie? Over 30-year-old movie? Yeah, but then it shows, like, how the whole system is actually in cahoots with this guy that, like, tortures and does whatever he wants with people, kills them, or whatever he feels like doing. And then they go to the authorities, but they're all in on it and aware of it, which kind of, they got truth drops in these movies. So I watched a movie that Severin put out called Eyes of Fire, and it was actually, so it's from 1983, 90 minutes, directed by Avery Crounse. And this was like a movie that sounded like wasn't very well known at all and was kind of like lost or something like that. And it was actually a really good movie. It's set in, I don't know how you'd describe it, back in like the early Americas, where people were just, Europeans were just coming over here. And basically a preacher and a family are kind of have to leave this little town, take this little boat thingy, and go out into the wilderness and try to set up their own little thing out there. But they set it up in an area where it's like the Native Americans won't even go. And there ends up being a reason for that. Some creepy stuff going on out there. So the story's pretty good, but like the practical special effects I thought were really good. And for what seemed to be such a low budget movie, I thought it was just really well done. It was somewhat of like a simple story, but there was some, kind of like magical elements to it. Kind of like a good versus evil thing, and then this preacher guy, oh boy. Definitely worth checking out, and I paid, let's see, it was $25 and buy 2 get 1. It ends up being like $18 or something like that, which I thought was probably worth it. I snagged this during one of Severin's sales or something for probably half off, around that price is what it's going to be. So I do recommend that one, 4 out of 5 stars. We do have a brand new PMAC Classic, and you're going to be shocked because it's like a romantic comedy, and I loved it so much. I could not give it below a 5 out of 5. I just thought it was fantastic. From 2022, 111 minutes. Directed by Jason Orley, it is I Want You Back, which is on Amazon Prime Video. And I didn't know the girl in this, Jenny Slate. I don't know what else she's in. Charlie Day, of course, from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but he actually plays a very likable character in this. He's not an idiot like he is in that show. Scott Eastwood, who I thought was good. Gina Rodriguez. I just feel like it was such a good mix of the story, the drama, the character building. It got you invested in these characters and what happened to them, what's happening to them, like I talked about earlier in this. And I thought it was just excellent, like an excellent date night movie, couple movie. Really, it was really fun to watch this with Charmaine because we were just so engaged in it and able to enjoy it together. So it was a really good experience watching this, and I gave it a 5 out of 5. I thought it really did a lot as far as it wasn't just a comedy. It really got into the dramatic component of it and the character building, and even like Scott Eastwood's character was somewhat likable, and I really enjoyed it. Let's see. We also really enjoyed Stuber, which is from 2019, directed by Michael Dowse. It is 93 minutes. I really enjoy Bautista, actually, Dave Bautista. Maybe more than The Rock. John Cena's been pretty good, too, and Peacemaker, great show. And Stuber started out kind of like, this isn't really that great, and I didn't really find the dude in it that funny. Kumail Nanjiani. He's like, he's not that funny. But it really got a lot better as and when. And it was actually a really fun action comedy. I gave it 3.5 stars. But thinking about it, I could easily give it 4. I don't know. I gave it 3.5 for a reason. But Dave Bautista, he's getting up there as one of my favorite actors. He's actually obviously he's huge and muscly and can do the action stuff, but he actually can do the emotions and the dramatic pieces, and he's actually kind of like, his demeanor is very likable, but he can also be a badass. Stuber, really enjoyed it. Moving on to a movie I didn't enjoy so much, but it still had its moments. It is Evolution, from 2001, 101 minutes, directed by Ivan Reitman, starring Fox Mulder, David Duchovny, Julianne Moore, Orlando Jones, Seann William Scott. I thought they actually could have done quite a bit more with this movie. I don't know that they really did a whole lot with David Duchovny or Seann William Scott. Orlando Jones is kind of annoying to me. And I thought Julianne Moore was actually good in this. I actually thought she was very likable, which I don't necessarily like Julianne Moore a ton. And I do like David Duchovny and Seann William Scott, but I didn't feel like they were really utilized properly in this movie. But man, there was still some hilarious portions in this movie. And I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Overall, not that great. But the end was good. The end was really good. Pretty funny there at the end. Moving on though to Saint Maud, which is from 2019. I'm looking at my phone here. That's why I'm looking down like that. It is 85 minutes. It's more of like a psychological horror. It wasn't really like a horror movie. It was more like a dramatic sort of thing, and kind of like, there's these movies where these characters have like mental breakdowns or mental issues, and this was one of those. And then it's kind of with the main character here played by Morfydd Clark, I guess. She it's kind of from her point of view, so like you're getting some imagery of like what she's saying, but not knowing if it's really what's happening or not. But it more or less, it seems to be from my perspective, and definitely the ending, I thought, really put that forward, was she's basically nuts. But it gets into, like, to me, it gets into people that are, like, really religious, and kind of their thinking along with that, and how it can get very extreme. And then, based on your beliefs, you can start kind of seeing what you believe, whether it's true or not. So basically, her character is a nurse who, like, goes to people's homes and takes care of them. And you find out kind of some more about her history working in a nursing home, more or less. And I thought it was pretty good, psychological. Not a popcorn movie, certainly. It's more like a movie with depth, and there is no light to this one. Like that first movie I talked about, there is definitely some dark stuff going on, but there is humor. No humor in this. Saint Maud, 3.5 stars, pretty solid. I did watch Sleep, the Arrow Video movie that I purchased, the German movie, from 2020. It is 102 minutes. It's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought, maybe I just didn't look into it enough, but I thought it was going to be something kind of like set in the times of, like, Eyes of Fire, but it was set in, like, modern times. But it did, that's not what I wanted to do. It did go into, like, back a little ways, too, but again, it's more, was it a horror movie? I'm trying to think if there was really much horror elements to this. It was mostly like a drama, like a dark drama. Her mom, so it's, the main character is a girl, like, I don't know if she's late teens or early 20s, maybe early 20s. She looks pretty young, but I think maybe she's in her early 20s. And she kind of takes care of her mother because her mother's got some mental issues, some sleeping issues. She's, like, seeing some intense stuff in her sleep and kind of acting a little wacky. And the mother ends up having an episode at this hotel, and then this girl goes to the hotel to investigate what's going on with her mom, who's now in the hospital, and you kind of learn the backstory to all that, which it was quite interesting. I was into it the whole way again. The setup and the story was very good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Let's see, we're at 22 minutes. I guess I'll just finish off this weekend and then maybe talk about some of these other movies some other time. So, the other ones I watched this weekend, Finch on Apple TV, which I got like I think it's a 4-month trial. It goes into June. Not a ton on there really that was of interest to me, but maybe that Will Ferrell show, but it's not really supposed to be that great. But anyway, Finch with Tom Hanks was really good. It's from 2021, 115 minutes, directed by Miguel Sapochnik. And it is about Tom Hanks living in like a post-apocalyptic land where it's extremely hot and there's like storms all over. He has to like avoid these storms and tornadoes and all that. But he's got these little robots that he invents, and he's got a dog. So his dog's his buddy. He makes this robot to like look after the dog after he dies, more or less, and he realizes they need to move because this storm is coming. So he's set to go from, where does the movie, I can't even remember now where it starts, around what city it starts, but he's heading to San Francisco, and a lot of it's just about like they're teaching this robot and the relationship with the robot. What's the robot's name? Jeff? It ends up being named Jeff. And you can kind of tell how Jeff grows as it goes on. He learns stuff, and even the voice changes as he learns. And I thought it was a really good one. I don't know. I'm trying to think if Charmy liked that one. I think there was aspects of it she didn't like, but I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really good. Back to like the mental issues thing. We got a movie. I had no plan of watching this. I just pulled up HBO Max and this was up there. I'm like, oh, a new Steven Soderbergh movie with what's her face here, Zoe Kravitz. So I just started watching it. It was actually pretty interesting. So it is set during the, what do you want to call it? The illness of the past couple years. The illness, which has made this girl even more nuts. She has a job where she works from home, just listening to, it's kind of like a Siri sort of thing, or Alexa sort of thing, and she listens and kind of corrects it if it's not understanding certain things or whatever. And then she just stays in that place. She doesn't leave, and she can look out and like see her neighbors out there. She lives in a city, so she forms a connection with one of the neighbors, and that's a whole thing. But she doesn't leave her place. She stays in there. She works in there. Just everything. She just does everything in there, and she's very scared to go out. She's had some sort of trauma. So doing her job, she overhears like what sounds like a crime, and then it kind of goes from there. And it does get into more like a thriller action towards the end, but a lot of it is focused on her issues, her mental issues, and stuff like that too. So I thought it was pretty interesting. There was aspects of it that were similar to other movies, but as far as everything put together, this was a pretty unique experience. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was pretty solid. And then lastly, I watched Max Cloud with Scott Adkins, which is actually kind of a fun video game movie. So it's set in like 1990, and this girl is playing this video game. By the way, this is from 2020. It is 88 minutes, directed by Martin Owen. And I believe Well Go put out the Blu-ray of this, which I do not have. I watched this on Vudu. You can watch this on Vudu for free with advertisements. It's basically just a fun movie. So the girl's playing a video game, and her dad gets pissed at her. She's like, I wish I could just play video games forever and get left alone. And then she gets transported into the video game by a wizard in the game, so she ends up being like a male character in the game. It was kind of fun, you know. Scott Adkins is like kind of the hero of the video game, and I thought it was kind of fun. Nothing great. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It's worth checking out, certainly for free. And then if I can get the Blu-ray of this for around $5, I would do something like that. I think it's worth owning. But, you know, I've watched a lot of other movies here over the past few weeks. It's just a matter of me going through and figuring that out and doing a video on it. But this is close to a half hour. I think it's pretty solid. Let me know your thoughts on any of the movies that I talked about here today. Hopefully I gave enough information on them. I think I said all the streaming services if I streamed it. If I didn't say that, it's probably because I own it. But definitely some movies worth checking out there. There's some solid ones. Even, you know, the 3.5s and up, I definitely think are worth checking out. If it's below that, But even like I said, Max Cloud Evolution, I think they're worth watching. They're just I just didn't think they were anything great. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on anything that I talked about, any movie that I talked about here today. I do appreciate you guys leaving feedback, leaving comments, helping out the channel any way you can. It does keep me making these videos. You see, I don't make them that often because I don't get that much feedback or views on these reviews videos. So it's like, you know, I know some people care and some people like them, and you have to be the people that are heard for me to really recognize who's enjoying the videos and all that. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time on PMAC Movies.